Last week in the Jersey Meadowlands, Giant players and fans alike wanted a win to ensure a job for popular coach John McVay. Unfortunately for the ex-WFL coach, the Giants' opponents were the explosive St. Louis Cardinals, who faced a do-or-die situation. St. Louis needed a win here and a Washington defeat in Dallas to qualify for the NFL playoffs. But it was New York who made the game's first big play when Cardinal running star Jim Otis fumbled and Brad Van Pelt carried it all the way to the 1. This prompted a Giants touchdown and a lead they didn't relinquish until late in the game. It appeared the Giants might be successful in saving the job for McVay, who replaced Bill Arnsparger and instilled a new spirit and confidence. But McVay's hopes for an upset vanished when Terry Metcalf provided the turning point on a punt return. Up to now, the Giants had been in control, but the big play by the little superstar ignited St. Louis. With just 6 minutes remaining, from a full house backfield and the Giants dug in on their 1, the constant pounding the Cardinals' great forward wall had been inflicting all afternoon finally took its toll. Steve Jones' second touchdown of the day gave the Cardinals and Coach Don Coryell the win they so badly needed, 17-14. That it had been a struggle was a tribute to the rehabilitation job of John McVay, whose uncertain future will soon be decided by the Giants brass. St. Louis had accomplished their mission. Now it was up to Dallas to defeat Washington as Coryell's cardiac cards went to the locker room to await the outcome of that crucial game. For Washington, there was no hiding the fact. Because St. Louis had beaten New York earlier in the day, the Washington Redskins had to whip Dallas or be relegated to a loser's role outside the league's playoff structure for the second straight year. But in the 3rd minute of the 3rd quarter, Roger Staubach passed to rookie wide receiver Butch Johnson for a spectacular touchdown bomb. It gave Dallas a lead it looked like would last, for the Doomsday defense was on the brink of salting the game away. With Doomsday dominating until late in the final quarter, Redskin hopes for the playoffs looked dim. Then, suddenly, Washington stormed 50 yards for a score. The catalyst was number 35, former Cowboy Calvin Hill, a forgotten man until today. Hill had replaced injured star Mike Thomas and seemingly put the Skins ahead with a touchdown run. But the play was recalled due to a holding penalty. So, on the very next center snap, Hill simply did it again. A few seconds later, Dyron Talbert tipped the pass that Dennis Johnson intercepted and took to the Dallas 3. And then, Washington wrapped it up on a run by yet another of their big-name free agents, John Riggins. In a 60-second fourth-quarter blitz, Washington had scored 2 touchdowns to defeat Dallas 27-14, and unbelievably for the many critics who had written them off, Washington's over-the-hill gang, not the St. Louis Cardinals, would be the NFC wild card representative in the playoffs. We were pronounced dead and buried several times, said Coach George Allen after the game. We're supposed to be too old and too slow, but age doesn't mean a thing. We always keep coming back. They say we don't have the talent, but we beat teams that are supposed to be better than we are, and they won't be in the playoffs. 20 other NFL squads peering in from the outside would have to agree. John McKay's winless season has eroded his ordinarily keen sense of humor and placed his team on the verge of making history. Against New England, McKay's Pirates set out to avoid making the record books. Fullback Ed Williams' 17-yard run lifted Tampa Bay into a surprising first-half lead. And before the good luck spell had worn off, the Buccaneers dazzled the playoff-bound New Englanders with yet another semblance of solid offense, a touchdown pass. But while Tampa Bay could only flirt with offensive success, New England's potent ground attack demonstrated its mastery of the subject, and pro football's second most productive ground game powered through the touchdown alleys. Andy Williams followed this 69-yard sprint with a 9-yard touchdown run in the second half, as New England knotted the score at 14. But on this day, Tampa Bay seemed destined to become part of NFL folklore. Sam Hunt's 68-yard interception return and encore added the epilogue to Tampa Bay's abysmal 1976 story. With this defeat, the Buccaneers became the first team in NFL history to finish 0-14. While for the tough young Patriots, it's on to the playoffs. In Philadelphia, Eagle fans have grown accustomed to their team's stylish brand of losing football. But last Sunday, the visiting Seattle Seahawks put on a far better display of offensive ineptitude. Seattle's usually competent offense turned the ball over 3 times, while veteran quarterback Roman Gabriel picked apart the NFL's most generous defense. Charlie Smith's 34-yard catch and run came so close and left him so disappointed that Roman bent the game plan a bit and let Charlie handle an end around. Smith's 3-yard scoring burst opened up a 21-point Eagle lead. Seattle's lone consolation came late in period 4 when rookie quarterback Jim Zorn threw his 12th touchdown pass of the season while amassing enough yardage to become the most productive rookie quarterback in pro football history. But for an expansion team, individual achievements somehow get lost beneath the rubble of defeat. You know, if looks didn't lie, you just might think Ted Marchibroda's team hadn't won a game all season. But last week in Baltimore, the Buffalo Bills gave the playoff-bound Colts only one moment of genuine concern. O.J. Simpson's 44-yard touchdown highlighted yet another spectacular performance for the Juice, who cruised to a 4th NFL rushing title in 5 seasons. The rest of the afternoon belonged to the man with the strongest arm in football. Burt Jones and Roger Carr rank as pro football's finest long ball combination. It seems they could run this play in street clothes. The Jones-Carr connection typifies Baltimore's multifaceted air game, a diverse attack whose receivers will travel anywhere with a Burt Jones pass. But no matter where success leads them, the Colt air game works. Roger Carr, Glenn Doughty, and tight end Raymond Chester, number 87, can penetrate any defense and have the credentials to prove it. This week, the Colts' league-leading offense challenges pro football's finest defense in the Steel Curtain. Last year, Pittsburgh brushed the Colts aside en route to the Super Bowl. This year, things may be different. The 49ers traveled to New Orleans last Sunday and made sure it was a worthwhile trip. But before the San Franciscans could become acclimated to the Superdome atmosphere, Bobby Scott and his tight end Henry Childs caused some problems for the NFC's top-ranked defense. Number 85, Henry Childs, is a third-year man from the same Kansas State team which produced Steve Grogan and Don Calhoun. And his heroics had the Saints ahead 7-0 until just before halftime. But then, some very strange things happened to the Saints. It was embarrassing enough to lose the ball in such humiliating fashion. But number 10, Bobby Douglas, not only lost the ball, he almost lost his shirt as well. The Saints were further victimized when a San Francisco punt became a most unusual first down for the 49ers. Most of the damage to the Saints, however, was done by a rampaging rookie quarterback named Scott Bull, number 19. First, the Saints saw Bull run, and then they saw him whip a bull's eye to Gene Washington in the end zone. The 49ers scored 27 unanswered points, capped off by Scott Bull's naked rollout to the touchdown, which assured the 49ers of an 8-6 record, their best finish since the days of John Brodie. With Walter Payton, number 34, slipping free through secondaries, the Chicago Bears returned to respectability this season. Against Denver last Sunday, Payton scored once and the Bears' defense contributed another as Chicago built a comfortable 14-0 lead at the half. While the Bears have realized an improved season around such talents as Walter Payton and the individuals who make up their defense, the team they were up against on this day, the Denver Broncos, have similarly put together a year of which to be proud. Together, the Broncos have punched out the best season in their history, showing much in the way of character along the way. So, when they trailed Chicago, it wasn't surprising to see them battle back and tie the score. Denver's Rick Upchurch, number 80, brought it to 14 apiece. And on their next series, the Broncos produced the go-ahead touchdown on a nifty burst up the middle by Otis Armstrong, number 24. One later score closed out a 28-14 Denver victory and ended a season that affirmed the best is still yet to come for both the Broncos and the Bears. Miami Dolphin faithful hold firm in their belief for their team, but against the Minnesota Vikings last Sunday, all the belief in the world couldn't produce that little extra needed to produce a win over the NFC Central champions. Beset by injuries, the Dolphins have labored shorthanded all season long, and the lesson of defeat for men once so well schooled in victory has produced a clumsy and sometimes painful fall. The Viking defense shredded any semblance of a Dolphin offense, and Fran Tarkenton did likewise to the Miami defense 3 times, nailing Rookie of the Year candidate Sammy White, number 85, with scoring passes. When Tarkenton went looking for a replacement for John Gilliam, rookie Sammy White appeared on the scene, and the Viking offense has never missed a beat. Minnesota finished the afternoon with 29 points and an 11-3-1 season, while the Dolphins could manage but 7 points to finish a frustrating 6-8 year. The long season was finally over for the Miami Dolphins. The Yuletide season brought an unusual sight to Detroit football fans, a Santa with claws. But even at this busy time of the year, old St. Nick had to halt his deliveries to watch number 28 James Hunter on the game's opening kickoff. Unfortunately, the Lions were held to a field goal following the return. But soon they were back in scoring range, thanks to a pass from quarterback Joe Reed to Ray Jarvis, number 45. Reed, a replacement for the ineffective Red Landry, ran for one touchdown and passed for another. This toss to the reliable number 88, tight end Charlie Sanders. But by the third quarter, the Rams defense had regrouped and lay in waiting for a Reed miscue. They got it when number 58, Isaiah Robertson, intercepted. Turnovers proved to be the undoing of Detroit's halftime lead. Both of the Rams' scores came following interceptions, like this sweep from reserve fullback Cullen Bryant, number 32. James Harris' touchdown thrown to Harold Jackson, number 29, along with a Rams field goal, put playoff-bound Los Angeles ahead to stay, 20-17. Out in Oakland, the Raiders, another playoff entrant, tuned up for the postseason by letting reserves like quarterback Mike Ray handle the chores. Ray fired 3 touchdowns past the bewildered San Diego Chargers secondary, including this one to tight end Dave Casper, number 87. The 24-0 victory brought the Raider regular season record to 13-1, the second best one-loss mark in modern NFL history. But while Ray performed this passing magic in California, 3,000 miles to the east, things were not going as well for the aerial endeavors of the New York Jets. Cincinnati defensive backs pirated 6 interceptions against Gotham quarterbacks, giving the Bengal offensive platoon great field position all day. There were times when Cincy didn't even need to be close to the Jet end zone, such as when Ken Anderson hit wide receiver Isaac Curtis on an 85-yard touchdown play. After 2 Bengal scores on the ground, Anderson went long again, this time for tight end Bob Trumpy, number 84. The lopsided win over hapless New York gave the Bengals a 10-4 seasonal mark and a share of first place in the AFC Central. But because of events the day before down in Houston, Cincinnati's share of first meant little. While the Oiler faithful sang hymns of hope, all they heard were funeral dirges crooned by the Steel Curtain Quartet. The Houston offense was never able to get off the ground, due partly to Pittsburgh's incredible defense. But the Oilers also managed to keep turning the ball over, often by most peculiar methods. Pittsburgh eventually took advantage of those mistakes as quarterback Terry Bradshaw, fresh from the injured ranks, tossed a second quarter touchdown to Lynn Swann, number 88. The Steelers also got 100-yard performances from running backs Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris. In addition, Harris, number 32, added 6 points to the till by knowing when to redesign a Pittsburgh running play. Since October, the Steelers have had to win all their games to make the playoffs. This victory gave Coach Chuck Noll just that. Pittsburgh made it the hard way, but nonetheless they made it. And for that, the rest of the league may be sorry.